A very warm welcome to all of you who are present here, as well as those who are watching this as a recording. This is the very first live session in our community called the Empowered Coach Community. And today we will be discussing in depth about what exactly is life coaching and to really introspect whether it is the right profession for you or not. I am a practicing life coach myself, and not only do I help professionals all over the world from about 8+ different countries to heal their confidence issues, anxiety through trauma work, I'm also a business coach for life coaches who want to scale their businesses. So, without wasting any time, we'll start with our presentation today. And how it's going to go about is that in the end, I will be answering any or every question that you have. And for those who are watching this as a recording on YouTube or wherever it is that you're watching, you can DM me your questions, either through LinkedIn or through WhatsApp, wherever you're connected with me. So just give me one moment and I will share my screen. Okay, let's begin. So before I tell you about what exactly life coaching is, here is a mini introduction of me. So I am a life coach for people who want to heal their anxiety, childhood traumas, and become the most confident version of themselves. That is one part of me being a life coach. Another part of me is I'm also a business coach for other life coaches who want to scale their businesses to multi six figures, which means that I have been mentoring some coaches one-on-one to scale their businesses. Now, this is a community that I started solely because I got a lot of requests from people who wanted to get trained under me. They wanted to learn how exactly do I create transformations in other people, and they wanted to start their own life coaching businesses, on their own. And that is when I decided to actually come up with a life coach training and certification program. But before you actually get trained as a formal life coach, you must understand certain basics behind it, and you must understand your own intention, and you must understand your own readiness, right? So the whole goal of me doing these sessions is for you to understand and be aware what exactly is happening, right? What exactly is life coaching, and how exactly will we be going about this, and what does it really mean to be a practicing paid life coach, not just a certified coach, but someone who's actually practicing it, right? So for example, I am a business coach, yes, but I also have a life coaching business of my own, right? So the whole point of us doing these sessions today, as well as, coming sessions, is for me to tell you very real, skills, very real life examples that I have derived from my own business, right? And I am active only on LinkedIn. So if you have never really connected with me, or if you've never really read my work, you can simply go on LinkedIn and scroll through my profile, and you will find everything there. I currently have 3 communities. So I help currently people in 3 capacities. The first community that I have is called Safe Space. It's a generic community for people who are into personal growth and who like being in my energy, and who basically want to get coached by me, right? Through the things that I write and through the things that I share. And Safe Space community is where I tend to share all of my offers very firsthand. People in the Safe Space community tend to get freebies and discounts, and basically they're the first people to know about all of my programs. So that's one community I run. The second community, or it's more of a group that I have, is Healing Childhood Trauma Group, wherein it's a 4-day recurring boot camp that I do every single week, right? Monday to Thursday, wherein I take all the participants on a journey of understanding what exactly is childhood trauma, how exactly is it affecting them, and how do we really go about healing it. And the third community, and the latest one, of which all of you are part of, specifically those who have made it live today, is the Empowered Coach community. And this community has only one purpose, okay? It is for you to become a life coach, a practicing and paid life coach yourself. So it is only for aspiring life coaches. It is not for anyone else, anyone who does not see themselves as a coach, right now or one day or whatever. It's not for them. So this is the, multiple ways I help people. So if you would like to join any of them, you're very free to do so. Just DM me on LinkedIn or WhatsApp, wherever you're connected to me, and I will add you. Now, let's get into the, nitty-gritty of it. Just give me one moment. Okay. Now let's first try to understand what does life coaching really mean, right? Like, what does this word in fact mean? Because coach and coaching both are incredibly overused words in today's world, right? And to really understand the essence of life coaching, we have to first understand what coaching really means. So coaching is nothing but the process of taking a person from point A to point B. That is what coaching really means. So if we remove the word, okay, I'm so sorry. I think there was some disturbance in the back. Coming back. So coaching in itself means you take a person from point A to point B. So there are different types of coaches in the world, right? There are people who coach sports. There are people who coach, other people based on very specific things. And similarly, life coaches are people who tend to coach people around certain specific life problems that their clients come to get solved, right? So it involves solving a specific problem so that your client can go from one specific reality to the reality that they desire. For example, when people come to me, they come to me with this, problem that, what, Rianshi, I want to become confident. I don't want to feel anxious. And I want to be in the most powerful version of myself. I want to step into the most powerful version of myself. And that is a problem that I solve for people, right? So life coaching is a generic term, right? Life coaching is a generic term to cover helping people solve their life problems. So it's an umbrella term. But there are specific ways you help people. So for example, it can include relationship coaching. For instance, there are coaches who specifically help others solve relationship problems. For example, I specifically help people solve their confidence problems and anxiety issues through trauma work, right? So confidence coaching. Then let's say self-love coaching. There are certain people who solve a specific problem under the area of self-love, wherein if I call myself a self-love coach, what I'm really saying is that I help you develop self-love for yourself, right? So life coaching is a generic term. There are different, aspects to it based on what is a specific problem you are solving for your client. That is the only thing you need to answer when you are trying to understand what is it that I'm supposed to help people with. So what tends to happen with people who want to become life coaches is that they have a very strong urge to help people, but they don't know what to help people with, right? And we call this niche in when we are talking about marketing, and when we're talking about, becoming more specific in what you help people with, we call this a niche. But to make it more simpler, just understand that life coaching is a generic term, right? It is just you helping people solve a problem. When you choose a niche, what you are really saying is you're becoming specific about it. This is the exact problem I help you solve. So life coaching is an umbrella term. There are different aspects to it, and that aspect is something you get to choose, because life coaching in itself is a business, right? And business is nothing but solving a problem. And you get to decide what is the problem that you want to solve for other people, right? So again, anxiety coaching, etc. Right? So it could be any type of coaching that you are actually giving to people, but the whole idea is that you are helping someone solve a specific problem. Life coaching is an umbrella term, and you become specific about what exactly are you coaching people about, right? Now, that is coaching. Now, let's try to understand what coaching is not, right? First is therapy. Now, there is a lot of overlap between coaching and therapy, specifically when you are a trauma-focused coach. So, for example, I am a trauma-focused coach, right? I help people heal their childhood trauma, intergenerational trauma, and my work is much, it goes much deeper than even the formal education that, people in our countries taught about, psychology, right? So for me, it's a lot of overlap because I get a lot of clients who have been to multiple therapists that they could not get any result. I have a lot of clients who have been, who have taken a lot of medication, but they didn't improve. But when they came to me, it improved. But there is a difference when you are just a life coach who's not trauma focused and therapist. The difference is that therapists tend to solve mental health disorders, right? So if someone is coming to you and telling you that they have a mental health disorder, I diagnosed mental health disorder. If someone is coming and telling you that I have been diagnosed with depression, you cannot solve that. Why? Because to actually help someone through a mental health problem, you have to undergo a specific formal education, right? You actually have to be a trained therapist, or if not that, you actually have to be a trauma trained coach, a trauma focused coach, which is a different type of education, right? So it doesn't really come under life coaching. So you are not a therapist, right? So if someone is coming and telling you that I have a mental health problem, your job is to guide them to a person you trust who can solve this person's problem. So for example, before I was a trauma focused coach, when I was a simple mindset coach, anytime someone would come to me and tell me that, you know what, Yanshi, I have, diagnosed depression. And in fact, I had two clients who told me that. I told them that, look, this is something I cannot help. I'm so sorry. I have airport nearby my place, so there are a lot of planes going. Anyway, coming back to the topic. So I had two people who came to me and told me that, Riyanshi, we have been diagnosed with depression. And I told them to get the diagnosis because I could see the, signs in them. They got diagnosed and I told them very specifically two things. One is, I cannot help you with depression. Okay. We have been working on certain issues. That is something I can help you with, but I cannot help you specifically with your depression. So I need you to go to a therapist. Second, when my clients told me that they want to continue with me because they were improving a lot, something that they did not see with a therapist, I told them that I need you to go and tell your therapist that you're also working with a coach, right? I told them two of these things very, like I told them directly, because when you are also practicing life coach, you must understand that there are certain ethics of it. And I will make a different video on that, and we'll have a separate discussion on the ethics of coaching. But I told them directly that, and they got, they went to the therapist and they still continued with me because they were seeing a lot of great results. But even though, a person is seeing results with you, it is your responsibility as a good life coach to let the other person know what your scope of helping them is. For example, I'll give you an example. Just a month back, someone approached me that they wanted their wife to get, coached by me. And she has been suffering from schizophrenia for a very long time, right? She has been having a lot of hallucinations. And, when they told me that, I specifically told them that, look, I can help them with their, specific childhood traumas, but this is something she's going to need medication for, right? Still, they went ahead and worked with me and they saw a lot of results. But I told them that you have to keep continuing this because this is a mental health disorder, right? So even though someone comes and tell you, and even though they're seeing results with you, it is your responsibility to let them know what your scope of work is and what your scope of work is not. That is what makes you a great coach, right? That is when your client can feel that they can trust you. Second thing is advising, and this is something a lot of people get confused with. So, a lot of coaches who are not formally trained and specifically who don't have a coach for themselves, they start advising, clients. And what they really do is that they think that people are coming to me to ask for my opinion, and they're coming to me, for asking for my advice. That's not what coaching really is. Okay, advising is a completely different thing. Advising is, let's say it comes under consulting, right? When you go to a consultant, you're going to a consultant for his advice based on certain things that, he is going to research on. You are not that. A coach's job is to facilitate a transformation wherein if a person is coming to you with a problem, you are helping him or her find the solution on their own. So a coach is a facilitator. You hold space for the person. You don't go and give them a cookie cutter answer. You don't, present the answer on a platter. So for example, if someone comes and asks me that, Riyanshi, how do I become confident? I'm not going to give them, here are 5 tips to become confident. That is the worst thing you can do for someone, right? Which is what a lot of people are doing these days. And that is why, they don't actually have a good, sustainable and successful coaching career, right? When someone is coming to you with a problem, your job is to understand the problem. Your job is to understand the person, and your job is to help them reach a solution, which is where developing coaching skills comes into the picture. And that is why if you have not been actually trained as a coach, and if you're not working with a coach yourself, you cannot be a good coach because you will end up advising someone, right? Advising is not coaching. And similarly, consulting as well, right? So for instance, let's say someone is coming to me as a life coach and asking me that, Riyanshi, I need your advice on how do I go about, scaling my coaching business to multiple thousands of dollars, whatever, right? I am going to ask them that, is this something you want me to coach you on, or is this something you want me to consult you on, right? Do you want a direct answer to this? If they tell me that they are looking for a direct answer, right, a one-time answer, I will give them a one-time, consultation. But if they're telling me that, no, Riyanshi, I want to get coached around it, and I don't want a cookie cutter answer. I want to be able to come up with my own answers. I'm not going to do consulting with them. I'm going to help them arrive solution on their own. So that is the difference between consulting and coaching. So when you are a coach, your job is not to give answers on a platter. In fact, when you're doing that, what you're really doing is you're making your client dependent on you, right? Which is not a sign of a good coach, right? So running after tools or giving your clients tools after tools after tools, giving them courses after courses after courses, or just telling them do this technique, do this tip and yada yada, you're not actually helping your client. You're making them dependent on you. One. Second, your client is not going to see the result and they're not going to come back to you or continue working with you, right? And fourth is mentoring. So what exactly is mentoring? Mentoring is when someone who is in your field and who is, let's say, 4 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps ahead of you, who's telling you how to, become good at what you're doing. So for example, if life coaches come to me, I'm not just coaching them, I'm also mentoring them. Why? Because this is something I've been doing for a while. I'm pretty good at it. I've made good results in this, and I'm mentoring them on how to do the exact same thing. So mentoring is again helping people in a direct way. Here you are not coaching someone to help them arrive solution on their own, but you're actually also somewhere giving them a direct answer. For example, this, right? Me doing this video for you, this is not me coaching you. This is somewhere me mentoring you and telling you that, look, this is what the pathway looks like. So don't confuse mentoring with coaching. Coaching is facilitating a change in the person, holding space for them, and actually making them empowered, right? So you are helping them arrive a solution on their own. And that is why you have to be able to hold space for your clients, as well as you have to be coached yourself. Because someone who goes into life coaching and they don't have a coach of their own, they don't really know how to coach, right? They will end up either advising or mentoring or consulting, or confuse themselves as a therapist, right? So as an empowered coach, your job is to empower your client and make them independent. So that is the difference between coaching and all these 4 other things, right? It's not serving answers on a platter. It's not giving advice. It's not consulting, but helping your client arrive and answer on their own and holding space for them, right? So basically facilitating a solution and facilitating transformation. Now let's become a bit more specific. How do life coaches actually solve the problem, right? So there must be something that we are using, right, to solve a problem. So here comes in the modality part of it. So for example, when I am helping my clients solve a problem, I'm trained, right? I'm trained in coaching modalities like trauma work, NLP, mindset coaching, etc., etc. So I have a lot of education in that, right? So the very first thing is you actually get trained in a very structured way, wherein you are learning how do you actually help someone solve a problem. And this is another misconception about coaching. So see, and this is something we'll discuss more of. The bar of entry into the coaching world is very low. Anybody can become a coach, because it is not very hard to get a certification. It is not very hard to get trained either. The difference is that when you are actually becoming a coach, you are facilitating a transformation. And when you're facilitating a transformation, you can't simply tell the person, oh, I am an NLP certified coach, so this is what we are going to do, and that's it. That's not how coaching works, because you must understand that when you're dealing with a client, you are dealing with a very unique individual, and no client is the same, right? So even when you learn the theory part of it, right, even when you do get trained as a coach, it doesn't matter that you will be a good coach or you will be able to facilitate transformation. The only thing that will help you facilitate a transformation is to develop other skills apart from just learning modalities. There are a lot of people who are trained in a lot of modalities, but they still struggle to be a coach, and they still struggle to actually facilitate a transformation, right? Because they're stuck on the theory part of it. So it doesn't matter what you end up learning. It doesn't matter what you understand the theory. That is a very basic part of it. The next part of it is intuition, right? So after you actually get trained in coaching models, after you have actually become a trained life coach, the second thing is to develop your intuition, because as a life coach, your intuition is going to be a superpower. If you are someone who's not intuitive, it is going to be very hard for you to become a coach. And that is why people who are very theory obsessed, people who don't invest in their own personal growth, don't become life coaches, right? They just get certified and they just keep thinking, oh, I have this certification, I have that certification. Why am I not getting clients? Why are my clients not getting results? And yada, yada, yada. Because you must understand that you have to develop intuition. Now, how do you develop intuition? You develop intuition through your own personal growth. So I'll tell you a very big fact, okay? And this is a fact. This is not open for negotiation. If you are working with a coach who does not have a coach of their own, they will never be able to help you. The reason is it's like trying to sell a product to someone you yourself don't use. And that is why, as a coach myself, and every single successful coach I've known, specifically coaches who create insane amounts of transformation and are successful in their business, has a coach of their own, right? From the moment I've started my business, I have always have, I've always had a coach of my own, because I cannot take a client deeper than I have been. If I have not actually solved my own problems, if I have not actually worked on myself, when I go out there, I will come across clients who will have the same problem as me. And then I'm going to look at them dumbfounded, thinking, oh my God, how do I help them? Because I myself am struggling with problems, right? So, for example, let's say that at present, I help people, heal their anxiety. I help people heal their traumas. I help people with their confidence. Let's say I am myself quite underconfident. How the hell am I going to help someone? And the thing with coaching is that it's a very energetic based profession. People can sense your energy. And when you come across someone who hasn't solved problems on their own, you will be able to tell. So your client cannot trust you or will actually pay you if you are someone who has not solved problems of your own. So you must understand that when you are planning to become a coach yourself, the very first thing you have to focus on is your own personal growth. Because if you are not growing in your personal growth, you cannot help someone else, right? Because this is not faking or phoning and pretending. It doesn't work. Specifically, if you're looking for a sustainable coaching business, not a business that is, when you pay for ads and then you go broke, and not that. When you're running a sustainable business, which is completely organic, right? You have to do it through your intuition, which means the very first investment you have to make is in yourself to solve your own problems, right? Then taking it further, consistent education and investment in oneself to solve a specific problem in depth. So what do I mean by this? So for example, I told you that I help people, improve their confidence. But let's say not only am I not investing in myself, because let's say I am very hesitant, right? I don't want to invest in myself. Second, I keep jumping from one place to another. I have not actually studied the topic of confidence in depth. I keep jumping based on trends. I see that, oh my God, career coaching is so famous, so let me go there. I see that, okay, self-love coaching is so famous, so let me go there. So what is going to happen is that I will have absolutely no recognition of my own. So people will not actually identify me with a specific word. Moreover, I will have no in-depth knowledge about any specific topic, which is what happens to a lot of life coaches, right? What they tend to do is that they tend to jump from one thing to another, and they don't actually invest in their personal growth, right? They think that they will get clients based on what is popular, right? So they get swayed very easily. And that is something that is the worst thing you can do. Don't ever do that. To actually become good at what you do as a coach, you have to consistently invest in yourself to solve a very specific problem, because you can only help someone solve a problem you have solved for yourself. If you haven't solved that problem for yourself, you will end up coming across a client who's going to have the same problem as you, and then you're going to wonder, how the hell do I help someone with something that I have not solved myself? And that is why, as life coaches, we consistently invest in our own personal growth. Even at present, I am currently in 3 coaching groups. I have a coach of my own, because I'm consistently working on myself, and because I'm consistently working on myself, my clients also create transformations, right? Because even if I'm stuck somewhere, I go to my coach, I tell them that, look, this is something that I need help with, and they help me out, right? Improving through feedback and having your own coach. So improving through feedback, meaning that when you start coaching, so let's say you have gotten your certification, and you've actually formally gotten trained in a proper structured way, you improve through feedback by speaking to people. So when you take you complete your coaching hours, when you complete your coaching sessions, you understand what exact problems are your clients facing, right? You understand and you learn through feedback, and you learn through feedback from your own coach. which means that when you are getting coached by your coach, what you're understanding is how does effective coaching really work. So for example, I've had 2-3 people who I have mentored, and most of the coaching that they have learned from me is when I coach them. So they were able to apply the same thing that I have applied to them to their own clients to create transformation in them. So you improve through feedback and having your own coach by taking feedback from your clients, as well as learning how to coach from your own coach, right? So that is how you actually consistently improve as a coach, because coaching is an evolving profession. Okay, it is not something that you learn once and that is it, right? That is when you start to become obsolete. People who consistently create transformation in their clients are people who don't ever stop growing, right? And that is why becoming a life coach means committing to your personal growth, right? Now let's answer the question, who can actually do this work? Like, who can actually become a life coach? So what qualification do you really need? Very first thing is you have to be trained as a life coach to practice life coaching, because again, if you don't know specific models, if you don't know, actually more than models, if you don't know what exactly are you using to coach people with, you may end up advising them, you may end up using Google quotes, you may end up using proverbs and something your mother told you, your father told you, and all of that. Why it doesn't work is because you must understand that when you are sitting with a client, they are trusting you that you are not going to judge them or box them. When you are not trained as a coach, what you will end up doing is that you will end up advising them based on whatever you have learned. And that does not work, because what is going to happen is that you will end up assuming that what I think is right, which is what happens to untrained coaches. They think that, whatever I know is right. So I will go and tell this to my client. And that does not work. Your your client may get offended that this like coach doesn't actually understand me, or your client may actually think that does this person not understand that I'm different than them, right? So you may meet a lot, actually number of people who may be very different from you. So to be able to be objective, you need to know how to coach, right? So you have to be trained as a life coach. Second is completing your coaching hours and applying for the certification. So for example, the current life coach training certification program that I'm coming up with in June, therein you have to complete your coaching hours and you have to submit me your case studies to actually get certified. Without that, I'm not going to give you the green flag that go do it. And there are two reasons for it. One is I want you to actually be confident as a coach, right? So there are, just because you learn how to coach doesn't mean that you have the confidence to coach. You have the confidence to coach when you've completed your coaching hours and you don't feel like a new coach when you're coaching someone, right? So you must complete your coaching hours. And second, when I ask you to, submit your case studies, and that is something I will explain to you if and when you do enroll in the program, is you have to be able to understand what the hell are you really doing, right? So the point is not to have a conversation and forget. You have to be able to look back and reflect that what are the tools that I have used? What was the problem? What was the case study really like of my client, right? So you must complete your coaching hours and then apply for your certification. The next question is, do I need a specific degree? The answer is no. Just the way you don't need let's say a specific degree to get into, let's say, marketing or anything of that sort. You don't need a specific degree to get into coaching. What you do need is skills, because coaching is a skill-based profession, right? So if you don't have the skills, which we will talk about in the next slide, you cannot practice coaching. So it doesn't matter what your background is. Could be any background. You could be from a marketing background, from a commerce background, from a science background. It doesn't matter. Are you open to actually learn the skills on how to coach is the question you need to answer. So see, I have a background in psychology, right? And actually I was on the path to becoming a therapist. I deliberately chose not to become a therapist because I did not agree with how backdated and outdated the curriculum was to become a therapist, right? That's something that I did not agree with. So I learned how to become become an effective coach. I'm still learning. I'm still enrolled in different programs and I'm still learning new and new things, right? So it doesn't matter what degree you have, but what does matter is, are you open to investing time, money, and energy to develop the skills you need to practice as a life coach? That is what differentiates a successful life coach with a sustainable business and someone who's a struggling life coach, always jumping from one place to another, right? Can anyone become a life coach? To be honest, the bar of entry to entering into the coaching world is very low. That is why you will see that anybody can call themselves a coach. But the bar of success is incredibly high. The reason is, when you enter into a field, right, which is unregulated, because even today coaching is an unregulated industry, right? It is not regulated by a specific body. And that is why it is your responsibility to regulate yourself. Why? Because when you are entering into coaching, you are creating a coaching business of your own, right? And when you're creating a coaching business of your own, you're your own boss. So when you don't hold yourself to high standards, your business is not going to be a high quality business, right? So can anyone become a life coach? Yes. But can everyone become a successful life coach? The answer is no. It depends on how committed you are to your own education, as specifically to your own personal growth, right? Not just education, but your own personal growth, right? And that is why the bar of entry to the coaching world is very low, but the bar of success is very, very high. Because most people become certified as a coach, but they stop investing in themselves, they stop investing in their growth, they stop committing, right? They become scared and then they go back to their lives and that their certification is lying around. And that is why even if you get certified as a coach, I don't care even if you work with me or anyone else, it doesn't matter. Your certificate is not going to guarantee absolutely anything. I have a lot of certificates right now, but I never ever tell people I'm this certified, I'm that certified, because it means nothing. Not a single client of mine has ever come and asked me, Yanshi, do you have this degree? Yanshi, do you have this certificate? You know, the only question they've asked me, can you solve this problem for me? Right? And that is the only thing people are going to ask you. The only reason we chase certifications is because we want validation, right? So getting certified, what it should really mean is that you are learning under a person who's practicing as a life coach and someone who can teach you in a structured manner. But constantly obsessing over certificate is not going to get you clients or going to help you become a good life coach, right? So coming back to the point, can anyone become a life coach? Yes. Can everyone become a successful paid life coach who runs a profitable business? Depends. Depends on how committed you actually are to your education and to your person, right? Okay. Now let's talk about what skills do you actually need to become a life coach. The very first thing is empathy. Now, there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Okay, I think a lot of you must have been knowing this, but I'm still going to explain. Empathy is being able to put yourself in other person's shoes without absorbing all their emotions, right? Sympathy is feeling other people's emotions, right? And not being able to see it objectively. Empathy is when you're able to feel other people's emotion without getting completely consumed in it. So a lot of people confuse both things. So empathy is, yes, you are able to feel other people's emotions, but are you able to objectively differentiate whether whatever this person feeling is, objectively going in the right direction or not? So empathy like that. So if you don't have empathy, that is something you're going to have to develop. And again, how you develop empathy is when you work on your own self, when you work on your own personal growth, when you have your own coach, right? So the very first skill you need is empathy, which is the ability to feel and understand other people's emotions. Second is critical thinking skills. So see, to be very precise and to tell you very directly, you cannot become a coach if you're unable to understand and break down problems in small chunks, right? So critical thinking skills means you're able to break down problems and your problem solving ability is high, right? So when you come across a problem, you don't give up. You try to solve it. You're a problem solver by nature, right? So that is what I mean by critical thinking skills. So the second thing you need is this. You have to be able to be a problem solver, because when you are coaching, you are going to meet a number of people. Not a single one of my client has had the same brain, right? They are not the same people. They will come with you with different brains, different thought processes, different emotions. Your ability is to be able to develop those critical thinking skills, to be able to understand what the problem of the client is, and to be able to help them understand what their actual problem is and what they think their problem is, right? And this is something you also develop when you get trained as a life coach, right? Critical thinking skills is also something you learn to develop. The third and incredibly important is ability to think in different shades of gray, which is fluidity. So there is something, when it comes to life coaching, is that sometimes people, and specifically people who don't have a coach of their own and who have never worked on their personal growth, have never invested in themselves, they're very rigid by nature. Because people who don't undergo coaching tend to become very rigid. They have a very rigid idea of this is black, this is white, this is good, this is bad. So they put people in boxes, that whatever this person is doing is good, whatever this person is doing is bad. And this is the worst quality you can have as a life coach. When people come to you, they are going to tell you a lot of things that is going to go against your value system, that is going to completely challenge you as a human being. And you have to be able to understand the client for who they are, for the life they have led, without getting personally involved, which is what we call as fluidity. Instead of only thinking in black and white, you have to be open to actually believing and knowing that people are different from me. That is the only way you can help people, right? Sometimes you may come across people who may do things that you consider morally wrong, but things that they may not. And even in that situation, you must know that your client has come to you to get help, not judgment. So if you are someone who's judgmental by nature, but you still want to be a life coach, the very first thing I need you to do is get a coach for yourself and understand, why am I a judgmental person? Because you can't be a good life coach if you're judgmental by nature. Because for people to trust you, for people to actually pay you money to help them, they have to trust that they can confide in you. They have to trust that you are not going to judge them. So if you cannot think in different shades of gray, if you don't have fluidity, either work on it or developing it, or if you don't plan on developing it, then life coaching is not for you, right? Because we come across different sets of people. There have been a lot of times I have met people who have done things that I may personally not do, but none of my clients have ever felt judged, because I don't judge them. It's not my job to judge my clients. What I think personally is my own, it's my own business. But when I am a coach, I am a professional, and I'm stepping into the shoes of being a coach who's non-judgmental and objective, right? Not someone who's going to tell my client, oh my God, how did you do this? This is so wrong. Oh my God, you have to do this. Oh my God, you have to do that. This is right. This is wrong. In fact, I'll tell you an example. One of my clients came to me and she told me that, Rianshi, the only reason I stopped working with a therapist of mine is because she started giving me financial advice out of nowhere. When I told her that I was struggling with this, she started giving me financial advice. And I never expected her to do that, right? So again, doesn't matter, even therapists do that. Even therapists are quite judgmental. That's not where we're going. The point is that when you are judgmental, what you're doing is that you're making your client feel unsafe, right? And that is something you absolutely don't want, right? You want to create a safe space for your client. So ability to think in different shades of gray, which is fluidity, is an incredibly important skill. Then feel like being able to hold space, which is feeling secure in yourself. So this is again, which is related to coaching confidence, and why when you get trained under me as a life coach, I want you to complete your coaching hours. Because what tends to happen is that there is a difference between learning theory of coaching and actually sitting with a client and someone telling you about their problem. What tends to happen to a lot of untrained coaches or people who haven't really worked on the skills is that they start taking sessions, people tell them their problems, and they become scared. They become insecure. They either start advising or they start going blank, completely blank, that, oh my God, I don't know how to solve this. I don't know how to answer this. This is a result of feeling insecure. And this is where you cannot hold space for your client, right? Because you yourself are dealing with so much of your insecurity and underconfidence that you get wrapped up in your own story and you can't really see that the client has come to you for help, right? So being able to hold space is incredibly important. Now, I must tell you, this is not something that we all naturally have. In fact, even me, right? When I started coaching, I did have some self-doubt. And that is why I worked with a coach of my own. And even today, I do that. Because as I told you in the beginning, if you are someone who cannot work on your own personal growth, life coaching is not for you. So you learn to hold space for other people when you have space inside your nervous system. When you feel emotionally clear and you are able to think clearly. And that can only happen when you are working on yourself, when you're working on your personal growth, right? And then is the ability to apply theory in practice for your client. So this is something you also learn when you are undergoing your life coach training program. You learn how to actually apply the theory models that you have learned for your client in a practical way. So for example, let's say that, I know a theory. Okay, let's say that I know a theory about growth mindset and fixed mindset. Okay. And there is a client of mine who has come to me, and I can clearly see that she has a fixed mindset. And then I start parroting, you know what? I'm going to tell you about a theory. This is growth mindset and this is fixed mindset. And I am expecting that my client is going to have a light bulb moment that is going to change her life. But that's not going to happen. My client is then going to ask me, okay, Rianshi, how do I apply this? And then I'm going to feel stuck. But I have explained the theory. That is what happens when you are untrained as a life coach. And that is what happens when you have not worked on yourself. You will go parrot theories. You will learn something from here and there. You're going to parrot it back to your client. And then your client is going to think, I could have just found this on Google. What are you telling me different? Right? So this ability to actually apply the things that you have learned by curating it in the session, which is individual to your client, is a skill that you learn while you are undergoing a coaching certification, as well as while you're completing your coaching hours, right? And that is why it's very important to not just learn theory and start, because it's not going to work. This is not a, this is not a job. Okay, coaching is a business, and a business is only run successfully when you can create results for people. And you can only create results for people when you have the skills, right? Maybe you can lie on your resume and get a job, right? Maybe you can, if you're working for the government in a bureaucratic system, you can lie your way through and people may not find out for a while. But when you're doing a business, people will instantly find out if you are not qualified. And here again, qualified, I'm not talking about certification. Qualified meaning in terms of skills, right? So you must develop your skills. And the most important part is high level of commitment to your own personal growth, right? One thing that I've consistently seen in clients, specifically coaches, who came to me to get help, the ones who were struggling were the ones who did not invest in their own personal growth. I'll give an example. A year back, someone who was an ICF certified coach who had about, I don't know, 2 or 3 certifications came to me and told me, Priyanshi, I've had certification for the past 3 years. So I said, okay, how many clients have you worked with? She said 0. She worked with 0 people because she thought that, okay, now I've learned all the theory, so clients will just come to me and that's it. That's not how a business works. So you must understand that when you are becoming a life coach, you're also starting a coaching business of your own, which requires high level of commitment to your own personal growth. And that personal growth can, look differently for different people. Some people may struggle with their confidence. Some people may struggle with how to monetize their skills. Some people may struggle with anything, right? The point is that you have to commit to your growth, right? Okay. Now, let's move to the next thing, which is how do you actually know if this profession is the right one for you? So here I'm gonna, ask you specific questions that I want you to answer on your own time, or maybe after this session or after you watch this recording, whatever. The very first question you need to ask yourself is, do you actually find joy in helping others? Now, what do I mean by this? So see, we all like helping people because it makes us feel good about ourselves. Yeah. What I mean by do you find joy in helping others is that when you think about finding actual happiness, right, in life, what do you get the most amount of happiness in, right? Sometimes some people think that they like helping people, but when they think about actually doing it as a profession, it overwhelms them, or they may feel bored about it, or they may feel that, oh, no, it is good for me if I do it maybe once a week, once a month, but I cannot actually commit myself to, convert this into a profession. So when I say, do you find joy in helping others? What I mean by that is, are you someone who's a service oriented person who likes serving other people, who can put other people's interest first before themselves, right? So that is what I mean by this. Second question is, can you commit to your own growth for the larger good? Now, what do I mean by this? Now, as I told you that when you are stepping into the profession of life coaching, you have to commit to your personal growth. If you don't, you're not going to be a successful life coach. You'll just be a certified life coach with no clients. Now, people who actually become good at life coaching, who actually have a successful coaching business, which makes money every month, every year, are people who understand this fact that if I don't invest in myself, if I don't grow myself, I can't help my clients grow, right? So this is a level of understanding that only some people have, right? Others tend to become scared. They tend to think, oh my God, I can't invest in myself. I don't want to invest money in myself. I just want to learn things for free and I just want to advise people and I just want to do it as a hobby, right? That is also okay. There is not a problem in that. But I'm talking about profession here. And when I talk about profession is when you are able to earn your livelihood through something, right? Not practice something as a hobby. So you must ask yourself that when I think about becoming a life coach, do I want to do this as a hobby or do I actually feel that I can commit and I want to commit to this? Because that is the difference between someone who actually makes a good livelihood from it and someone who doesn't. And the difference is the level of commitment. I have personally had a lot of people come to me who are certified from here and there and yada yada. Yet they were unable to convert it into a successful business because their level of commitment was very low. They didn't want to invest in themselves because they could not answer this question that is my level of commitment high enough to actually invest in myself, right? Can I commit to my growth for the larger good? So that is a question you must reflect on, right? You must ask that, is this something that I just want to do for a hobby? Maybe, once a week, once a month. That is also okay. It's not like it's a wrong thing. But if you're considering this as a profession, you must ask yourself that if I want to make sustainable income from this, can I commit? Now, the next question is your core value love, freedom, and service? So what do I mean by this? Core value is something that you value in your life above everything. For me, it was freedom. I don't value anything above freedom in my life, right? And that is why even when I was doing a job, I could not feel free. And even when I wanted to, become a therapist, one of the reasons I did not go down that path is because I realized that the curriculum therapists are still studying is extremely outdated, right? They don't go in depth. They don't actually, help people in a way that I wanted to help, right? And that was something that made me feel chained. And that is why I went to the coaching path. Another reason why I was able to create a successful coaching business was because business brings freedom, right? When it comes to business, you can do whatever the hell you want, but you have to be willing to take complete and full responsibility of it. So, freedom was my core value, and that is why I was willing to do anything it takes to run a successful business, right? Similarly, is your core value love, freedom, or service? Can you commit to a point where, your core value is something that you can feel every single day? So a lot of people say that I want to feel free, I want to feel like I'm serving others, I want to live a meaningful life. But when it actually comes to committing that, they get scared, right? And it's okay to get scared. It's not like it's bad to get scared. But you must ask that, am I willing to completely, go all in? And am I willing to live a life where I feel every single day that I am being true to myself, that I am living my core value? So if your core value is love, you want to feel in love with your work. If your core value is freedom, you want to feel free in your life. If your core value is service, that I want to serve others, life coaching is perfect for you. Because people who are good at what they do, specifically coaches who are good at what they do, are in love with their work. Even on the days they're not making money, they still want to do this work. Second is they enjoy freedom because coaching is a business, right? Third is service. They want to serve other people, right? So when your core value is either one of them or all of them or two of them, coaching is perfect for you, right? The second question you must ask is, are you a creator by nature? So coaching is when you are able to guide someone, when you're able to help someone facilitate transformation in their life. And someone who can facilitate transformation in other people's life is someone who is a creator by nature. It means someone who has a growth mindset and someone who believes that whatever is happening in my life, I am responsible for it and I take complete responsibility of it. So if you are someone like that, right? Someone who does not like to feel like a victim, someone who takes responsibility of themselves, someone who believes that whatever it is that I want in my life, I will do whatever it takes to create it, life coaching is perfect for you. Because when it comes to a coaching business, someone who feels like a victim is not going to survive. Someone who feels like I will keep blaming other people, the economy, the market, this and that, they cannot be a good life coach. Someone who is not willing to see what their role in their own suffering is also cannot be a good life coach, because again, you are, going like you're operating in a victim mode. So here you have two choices. Either you work on coming out of your victim mode, again, work with a coach to come out of this. That is why I said personal growth is very important for you. Second, if you don't want to come out of it, then maybe life coaching is not for you right now, right? Maybe you think you want it, but your commitment level is not high enough, right? So if you're a creator by nature, if you've always felt this, that I want to create in my life, whatever it is, then life coaching is perfect for you. Second, the next question, and again, a very important one, is that is your desire to lead a meaningful life stronger than what, living in a box others have designed for you? So this is a question that I asked myself when I was switching from my corporate job to a full-time coaching career. That so I was very honest with myself. I knew that when I do this, some people may not agree with it. Some people may even criticize it. Some people may not understand it. Am I willing to still do it? Was the question I asked myself again and again and again and again. And that is when I realized that I had two choices. Either I could shrink myself or continue to live in a box that other people have designed for me, that, get good grades, get a job, or, do masters, do all the things that, formally people tell you to, or even shame when society shames you into doing that. Or I'm willing to create a life of my own, right? I'm willing to live a life that feels meaningful to me. I don't care if other people don't understand it. I ask myself this question every single day. And even today, when I'm stuck, I ask myself this. And the answer to that is always a yes. That even if it takes efforts, even if, it takes feeling afraid, I still want to live a meaningful life. I don't want to shrink myself. That is a horror movie for me, right? So ask yourself, is your desire to live a meaningful life stronger than the boxes that other people have created for you? Now, there is a nuance to this. I will not tell you that when I started my coaching business, I was, very fearless, very confident. No, I was scared, but I was willing to commit. I was scared, but I wanted to be fearless. And that is the commitment level I'm talking about. Even if you're scared right now, are you willing to be fearless? Are you willing to actually invest in your personal growth, that you become a courageous person? That is a question you need to ask yourself, right? Because see, there are two types of people. If, like, one type of person is they're scared and they accept their fate. They decide, oh my God, I'm a scared person, I will never do anything in my life. Another is they are scared, but they say to themselves that I don't want to be scared, I want to be courageous, I want to live a meaningful life. So it's okay even if you're scared, but your desire to be courageous should be higher than your um, you know than your marriage to this feeling of being afraid all the time or feeling like a victim all the time. So your desire to lead a meaningful life should be stronger than, living in a box that other people have created for you. And this is again a very important question, which I feel a lot of people don't ask themselves when they're starting a coaching business, is, are you comfortable with being uncomfortable? Are you someone who's okay if things are not always the same for you? Because here is the thing. Most passionate people, right? And I am a passionate person myself. Most passionate people who go into the coaching business, they don't like, monotonous routines, right? They don't like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing again and again every single day. But when it comes to actually being comfortable with being uncomfortable, not a lot of people are okay with it. And I'm telling you this myself because in the beginning, I was scared. In the beginning, I was scared of being uncomfortable because I used to feel that, okay, I don't want to go down the routine part, but when things do become unstable, I'm getting scared. But that is when I knew that this is a life I want. I want excitement in my life. I want to be able to solve a different problem. I want to be able to do whatever the hell I want in my business, right? So you must ask yourself, are you comfortable with being uncomfortable? Have you worked on yourself? Have you worked on your personal growth, or are you actually working on your personal growth right now to come to this? Because it may sound very sexy that, oh my God, we have a business, and currently I work hardly 3-4 hours a day. Okay. and I'm not worried about my bills. I'm not worried about stability because I know what I want, and I know whatever I want, I can create it out of thin air. But to be able to come to this, point in my life, I have had to be okay with being uncomfortable. I have had to be okay that some months may not look good. Some months may look incredible. But am I okay with this? Is the question I asked myself a lot, right? So you must ask yourself this, that it may look sexy to you, but are you comfortable with being uncomfortable? Or if you are not right now, are you willing to learn how to be okay with discomfort? Because again, as I said, committing to your personal growth is the most important part of becoming a life coach. And this is one of my favorite parts is, do you have an entrepreneurial spirit? Because when you commit to being a life coach, you get to do something very, very exciting. You get to create whatever the hell you want. For example, I have created group programs. I have worked with people for any amount of time I want. I have charged whatever the hell I want. I come up with things with whatever the hell I want, right? Because I have worked on myself at that till that level, and I'm not afraid to put out whatever it is that comes to me, right? So that is what the entrepreneurial spirit is about. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anybody's approval. You don't need anybody's validation. You can do whatever the hell you want in your life. And that is exciting and scary at the same time. Scary, why? Because you're going to have to take responsibility, right? Exciting because, of course, there is no approval that I take from anyone. There is no validation I take from anyone. Whatever I want, I just go out there and create it. But that also means that I have to take responsibility of things instead of blaming other people. So if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, if you're someone who loves creating things, who doesn't like seeking permission from other people, who wants to, solve a problem, right? Without asking, oh, is this a right problem to solve or not? Then a life coaching business is going to be one of the most exciting things you will ever embark on, right? So I remember when I started my coaching business, I wouldn't sleep at night because I had so many ideas. And it was the very first time in my life I realized I was so excited to work, right? I was so excited to work that ideas would just keep coming in. And because I didn't have to take anyone's permission, I would put them out and then I would test them out. Idea would come, I would test it and I would see, okay, this is working, this is not working. So it was fun for me. So if you are someone like that, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, life coaching business is perfect for you. One of the reasons why it is perfect for you is because it requires very less amount of capital to start. The only capital you need to invest in is in yourself, right? Which is your personal growth, because a coaching business comes from your brain. You don't need to invest in a product. You don't need to build a team and anything like that, right? For example, I am a single person, right? I'm a solopreneur. I have not hired anyone. I'm not paying any bills. Every single month, the only bill I pay is of my Zoom Pro, right? Or any subscription that I have. So when you have an entrepreneur spirit and you want to start out a business with a limited capital, it's a great, place to start with, because that is something that worked for me. Okay. Now, let's ask ourselves the question, is passion for helping others enough when it comes to life coaching? Now, why I want to talk about this is because a lot of people peddle this belief, a wrong belief, that if you're passionate about helping other people, you can become a good life coach. The answer is partly true. Okay. I know a lot of people who, got trained with me as well. And they were also, sort of in the same group as me. And we all loved helping people. But I did not see each one of us create the same amount of results. And the reason is that simply having this feeling that I want to help people is not enough. Okay. You need to be able to create, you need to be able to commit, and you need to be able to commit to your education and your personal growth, right? Because building a business is not a joke, it's not a hobby, right? So you have to ask yourself that, is this something that I'm actually willing to go in, or is this something I just want to do it as a hobby, right? Then you must have a I'm a creator mindset, right? So when it comes to business, one of the reasons some people don't or aren't able to do business well is because they have a victim mentality. They think that other people are responsible for their business, right? They think that clients are not coming, market is like this is like that, yada, 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 right? That does not work when you are, committing to being a paid life coach. Okay, not just a certified life coach. Anybody can do that. I'm talking about a paid life coach. So you must have a I am a creator mindset, which means that I create my destiny, I create my life. And the next one is my business is my baby mindset. Now, what do I mean by this? So, I have had people who came to me and told me that, you know what, Priyanshi, I got, trained and certified as a coach, but, I don't have any clients whatsoever. So I said, okay, how much time are you giving to your business? What are you doing? And then they tell me that, oh, I give 2 days and then I go back to this and then I do it once a month, twice a month, and yada yada. Think of it like this. Think of two parents, a parent who is very inconsistent with their child. They only come to them when they, feel like, oh, my child can entertain me. And they only come to the child when, they feel like it. And another parent who nurtures their child every single day. What is going to happen? A child who always experiences inconsistent love from his parent is going to feel distant and is not going to, turn out a great kid because he has never been supported by his parent. Whereas a whereas a child who has experienced consistent love and nurturing from his parent is going to be successful, is going to be confident, right? That is a difference. So you must treat your business as a business, not as a hobby. If you treat it as a hobby, then you are not going to be a paid life coach. You're just going to be another certified life coach, right? And that is not what I'm interested in teaching you. Okay. Even when people have worked with me before as life coaches, when they've taken mentoring for me, the one thing I ask them is just that: are you right now willing to treat your business as a business, or is this just a hobby for you? Right? So you must have this mindset that my business is my baby. The willingness to invest time, money, and energy into your business. So even though life coaching business is something that starts with, very less capital, the one thing that you have to invest into is a good program and in yourself, right? Into your personal growth. If you cannot do that, then create resources to do that, because honestly, that is what I did. When I did not have the resources, instead of going back to my old life and become like saying that, oh my God, that is it, I give up, I created resources for myself, right? I paid to my coach from my salary. I created funds for myself to invest into programs. I created things because, again, I came from the mindset that I am a creator. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it, right? So you have to be willing to invest, right? If you're not, then what tends to happen is that when you don't invest in yourself, people are not going to invest in you. And that is what happens to coaches who don't invest in themselves. They come across clients who don't invest in them, right? So when you are, or when you want to become a paid life coach, you must be open to investing whatever it is that you want to in yourself. And you must have this belief that I want to create a life I'm in love with. So why I've used the word urgency, because again, a lot of people love this sexy idea that, oh my God, I'm going to create a life I love. I'm going to do what my passion is. I'm going to work 4 hours a day and I'm going to live a freedom lifestyle and whatever. I had that too. But what I've come to realize is that it takes a certain mindset to live that, right? Which means that you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to commit, because, I will not tell you that, I'm able to, run this business while running, just working 4 hours a day because I got lucky or because I have a magic wand. Absolutely not. I invested in myself. I invested in my mindset. I learned how to become a good coach. And that is why I'm able to live that, right? It was not some affirmation, some magic wand or anything of that sort. So you have to be committed that I want to create a life I'm in love with, right? That is the energy you need to have. Now, the only difference between a life coach versus a paid life coach, which means someone who's making consistent income from the life coaching business, is that they are open to learning on how to monetize it. So, as I said, one is learning and becoming a certified and trained life coach. Another is understanding that how do I actually monetize the skill. For example, let's say that I am a graphic designer. Okay, that's a skill that I've learned. Okay, I've learned it from, let's say, some college, some academy, or some course. How the hell do I monetize it? I'm gonna have to learn it. No, it's the same thing. So the difference between a life coach and a paid life coach is that a paid life coach is someone who does not stop learning even how to monetize the skill, right? Now, that is it for today. I am open to taking questions now. The upcoming topic that we will be talking about is how do we actually become a paid life coach in 2024. We're going to understand what are the current trends and analysis, and we'll be conducting this session tomorrow on 25th of April, 4 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So I have allowed you guys to unmute yourself. You can ask your questions by unmuting yourself, or you can just type down the question in the chat box. Um, yeah. You can unmute yourself now. Ask any question you want. There's absolutely no bar to whatever you want to ask. There is no question that is big or small or stupid or smart. Okay, so we do have one question. Can you suggest with few books to start with life coaching? So you can't learn life coaching from books. What you will learn from books is theories and models and what do I call it? For example, let's say I'm a trauma trained, coach. So one of the books I've read is "It Didn't Start with You" by Mark Wallen. It didn't make me trauma focused coach. It just gave me information. So life coaching is something you cannot learn from books, because when you do learn, when you go and read books, what you will learn is theory. For example, let's say that someone comes to you and asks you that, you know what, I am a procrastinator and I'm just unable to do things on time, right? And you are going to tell them that, this is the reason you are procrastinating and this is how you can solve it, right? This information is going to come from a book. Then your client is going to tell you, either he's going to tell you that I have already done that, it's not working, or he's going to tell you, okay, I've tried it, it's not working. That's why life coaching is something you cannot learn from books. Books have theories, right? The only way you can learn life coaching from is when you are undergoing a structured program, when you learn how to apply theory to real life practical situations. And you do case studies and you complete your coaching hours. Because coaching is not a competitive exam paper you can give and you can become. You have to actually practice it to become it, right? So you can read any book you want. Honestly, there is no specific life coaching book, to be honest. But if you want to become a practicing life coach, you have to actually practice it by undergoing training. Okay. What is the difference between life coach and mindset coach? Life coach is a generic term. Honestly, you can call yourself a life coach once you have trained. Mindset coach is a more specific term where someone is maybe telling you that, I help you with your mindset. So for example, the current training program that I am developing, right? It's great for mindset coaches, yes, but you can also call yourself a life coach. It doesn't matter, because see, it doesn't matter. You can call yourself anything. It's going to make zero difference in your revenue. It's going to make zero difference in your business. It's going to make zero difference in anything. To this date, nobody has ever asked me, why do I call myself this? Why do I call myself that? Right? The only thing people ask is, can you solve a problem? So it doesn't, there is no difference in, this. You can call yourself anything. The only reason sometimes people like to call themselves a certain coach is because it helps them build an identity. So a mindset coach may use the word mindset because they are trying to imply that they help people with their mindset. They can also call themselves life coach, but it's not going to make a difference if they can't solve a problem, right? What hard skill is required to become a life coach apart from empathy or being non-judgmental and non-advisor? So when you say hard skill is when you undergo the training program, when you learn different mental models. So for example, one of the things that I have included, in my training program is how to actually question your clients in a way that they get answers on their own, right? So that is a powerful questioning model, which is something that also come under that is something that also comes a little bit under NLP. But what it really focuses on is trying to understand the model of the world of the client. So when you say life coaching, when you say hard skills, you must be able to understand different theories, yes, but how to apply those theories in a real life case scenario. Like if someone is actually coming to you that, okay, I have, let's say, problem where I get anxious in front of, let's say, my bosses. Okay, let's say they come to you that the theory would be that, okay, this is the reason, that is the reason, yada, yada, yada. A hard skill as a life coach would be you being able to, help the client explain that this is the reason you are doing this, and we have to understand why you are doing this, and then coming up with a very tailored answer and a tailored solution and helping your client implement it. So when you say hard skill as a life coach, it is understanding different sets of mental models, it is understanding different sets of theories and being able to apply it in a real life coaching session. That is a hard skill as a life coach. Just learning something from theory is not going to do anything. It's just anybody can go and read it on Google, right? So you're not really doing anything different. Can we help someone who does not think they want help at the first place, even though we can see they do? So first of all, if someone is approaching you, let's say as a potential client, right, that they want help, it means that they do want help. So you can't go force someone that, okay, I am a coach, I want to help you, even though you don't want help. That's one of the ethics of coaching. You cannot help someone who doesn't want to get helped, right? In fact, even in the coaching sessions, sometimes you may encounter people who say that they want to change something, but they actually don't want to go deep. And that is when, and this is something, again, you have to very delicately understand about a client when you undergo training, is that you have to be willing to very gently tell your client that this is something that's not happening because you're not willing to go deep, right? So here are two aspects of it. One is you want to help someone who has not come to you for help, can't help them. Don't ever do that. Don't go spamming people. I am a life coach, take sessions from me. That just makes other people lose respect for you. Another is when you do have a client and they do want help, but they have a very big barrier, let's say, or maybe there are some ego mechanisms and defense mechanisms that they have. And this is again, you learn when you're undergoing a training program. You learn to understand what are different ways we can help a client who maybe has a lot of defense mechanisms, who maybe wants to get help, but he's unable to go deep because, let's say, he's very afraid, or maybe he is very, very rigid about his, belief system, right? So I hope that answered your question. How do you help coaches grow their business? So it's a different thing in business coaching. So two ways, okay? Coaches don't grow their business just through strategy. Coaches grow their business through what they think about themselves as a coach, right? So when coaches come to me, I look at two things in the business. One is I look at the strategy, yes. Another is I look at what do they think and feel about themselves as a coach. Because coaching is a very nervous system based profession, right? Which means that no matter how many strategies you employ, you can pay a lot of money to ads and this and that. If you don't believe in yourself as a coach, if you yourself have not worked on you, you will not be able to create transformation. I'll tell you something interesting, okay? A while back, I was mentoring someone one-on-one, which is something I currently do for business coaching. And she told me that, Rianshi, I can coach. I have a problem with my business strategy only. I could sense that that's not the only problem. But I told her, you know what, let's do it your way. Let's improve your strategy. I did that for her, right? We did that. She got a lot of leads, but very interesting thing happened. Every time someone would approach her for a session, she would either reschedule, she would get sick, or even when she did get on a call, she would freeze, right? Because her self-esteem as a coach was incredibly low, right? And then she came to me and told me, and she realized that actually the reason I'm not actually able to get paid clients is because I don't actually believe in myself as a coach. I somewhere have, a lot of self-doubts on my own. And that is when we worked on them. And that is when she was able to create paid clients. So I look at both the things. Strategy, yes, there is a part of it, 40-50%, but 40-50% is your own personal growth. So if your personal growth level is very low, you can pay any amount of money to marketing agencies and this and that. It's not going to result into anything. And that is why, as a life coach, you must work on yourself, in your personal growth. You don't actually need paid marketing to actually grow your business. You don't need a lot of followers to grow your business. What you do need is a good strategy, but more importantly, a very solid belief that if someone comes to me, I am the only solution they need, right? Okay, is there any other questions you guys have before we conclude our session for today? How do we find out what group of people to focus on? Like how you decided to focus on trauma bonding? The reason I was able to find that out is because I worked on myself. So there is a saying in life coaching where we say that the clients that you meet are nothing but a past version of you. And that is why when you don't work on your own personal growth, you will never be able to find out who your client actually is, right? So your client is nothing but a past version of you. So, which means that the reason I was able to find that I want to do trauma work is because I got done trauma work on myself. I grew immensely because of trauma work, and I realized that this is something I want to learn, right? Not something because I thought, oh my God, it's going to be profitable and that is why I'm going to do it. It's not going to work, right? Because people can sense genuineness because human beings are very energetic by nature. So, and specifically, people who are approaching you for coaching are going to be emotional at a level, which means that they can sense things, right? So, the only way you find out what group of people to focus on is not that there is some invisible profitable group out there. You focus on yourself. What is a problem I have that I have not solved for myself? What is the biggest solution that I have gotten for the problem that I have solved for myself? That is what you help other people solve, right? So again, it's not about what's outside of you, it's about what is inside of you. How do we practice initial hours of coaching? Where do we get clients from, and would it be non-paid? How do we practice initial hours of coaching is something I teach in my life coaching training and program. So here I'm going to tell you how to actually complete your coaching hours, and there you're also going to have peer-to-peer coaching if we have multiple people in the group, or I'm going to teach you how to do that. Second is, you said um, where do we find clients from? So this is something that, again, I teach. You don't find clients, you create clients. There is not some invisible group out there wherein, you find clients like fishes. No, you create clients. And that is called client creation. And this is something that I will talk about more as well in my coming sessions. But you have to learn how to create clients. And are they non-paid? No. Why would you do non-paid coaching hours? So when you're completing your coaching hours, yes, in the beginning, I recommend that you do non-paid because you don't have that pressure on you and you can be vulnerable and you can allow yourself to make mistakes. But after you complete certain number of coaching hours, then of course you're going to have to charge. We are doing this as a profession. It's not something we're doing it for free. But when you're completing your coaching hours, I recommend doing it for free in the beginning so that you don't have the pressure. Because the very first thing you must focus on when you become a trained life coach after you've completed your program is to gain your coaching confidence, right? Because your confidence as a coach is going to give confidence to your clients. Underconfident coaches don't attract clients. Please understand that. Because when you yourself are not sure of who you are as a coach, how the hell are people going to, be sure of you, right? Is there any other question you guys have? You can also DM the question in the group. That is also okay. Do you help in niche selection as well? Yeah, that is something that you arrive at after you have been trained as a life coach. Because again, niche is something that is going to come from your body. It is not, again, it is not some fancy secret out there wherein, oh my God, if you do this, you're going to get successful. No. In fact, a lot of people start doing leadership coaching because they think that if they coach leaders, they're going to get more money. And sadly, it does not happen. Niche is something that is going to come from your own body, because coaching is something which is a nervous system based profession. The deeper you get into your personal growth, the more you will become clear about this is what I want to help people with, right? That is the kind of confidence you select a niche from, not taking advice from other people that you tell me how to select a niche. That is not how it works. So once you actually start becoming trained as a life coach, and when you get coached, you are able to understand your own niche on you, or like by yourself. You don't actually need someone for that. And how I help people select a niche is just this. I don't give them advice. I help them figure that out on their own. Okay. Is there any other question you guys have? Can we work with you one-on-one for this? Okay, so if you are a coach right now and you want to scale your business, yes, you can work with me one-on-one as well. I do mentor one-on-one. If you are not trained right now and if you want to get trained under me, I will be launching a program in June. It's going to be a group program and it's going to be a lifetime coaching program. So once you get in, you're going to get coached for life. So if you want to get trained, it will be that. That is not something I'm doing one-on-one. But if you are a coach right now and you want me to help you scale it, we can work one-on-one on that. Is there any other question you guys have for today? Okay, I think not. I think we have covered all the questions. Again, sit, reflect, and whatever questions come up, share with me in the group, and I will answer them either in a voice note or through text. You can also DM me. That is also not an issue. And for those of you who are watching this as a recording, if you would like to come for the next session that we will be doing live, because you want to ask your questions and you want to have an interactive discussion, you can simply drop me a DM on my LinkedIn or WhatsApp for Empowered, and you will be added to the community. And I will be seeing you tomorrow for our next session. Bye bye.